What I can only say is that I'll come to that a little later. Well, first of all, I must compliment IESA for not only doing this Vision Summit, which is useful for all of us and useful for the industry, but also doing a very seminal job of setting up studies, especially the disability report. I've gone through the report, each and every word of it. Most of the disabilities will have to do with central government policies, taxation, countervailing duties, and so on. However, I guess states also have a major role to play. If you look at electronics in the country, I guess collectively we have to address all the four quadrants that is being talked about, whether it is skills, whether it is startups, of course manufacturing, design. And I must also compliment, luckily for us today we have Dr. J. Satyanarayana with us here. He has been Secretary IT and I have been Secretary IT in Madhya Pradesh for the last 3 years, and I have seen his dynamism. I am actually really fortunate to have worked under him. And I must honestly say that Government of India has done its job well. Whether you have MSIPs or FAB policy, or in general branding electronics as a priority because you have a logo called Electronics India. And now of course we have Make in India, so all these small components are part of Make in India, the larger branding. However, Electronics India is a very powerful branding and tries to convey the message very clearly that this has to be a priority sector for the country. But what is expected of states? Well, I was very curiously watching and admiring the Karnataka presentation, and yes, I think all the states must be working in this direction. We need to provide the ecosystem, we need to provide the infrastructure, we need to provide the land, the incentives, but all the states are offering the SOPs. Then what is the differentiator? And most importantly, are we competing among the states? Well, my own answer to this question is no. Actually, collectively, we are competing with countries like Taiwan, China, South Korea, Mexico, and many other countries where we already have an established industry. So, states will have a role to play in terms of looking beyond what other states are doing and maybe now looking at what Taiwan is doing, what South Korea is doing, what China is doing. Can we reach there? And on a positive note, I will say that states have become very aggressive. I was reading an article or an interview of the chief economic advisor of the country, and he was saying that, well, cooperative federalism is going to be the buzzword, where states are aggressively competing among each other to attract investments, which is a very, very happy scene in this country. And the states can actually contribute by ease of doing business. I think that is the word, because India is a country in terms of population, in terms of talent, in terms of market, has enough to grow in all the states. I mean, it's not restricted to one state. Every state can actually attract large amount of investment across the world. However, it is the real effort that is going to be done in the field of ease of doing business that will actually have an impact, because Government of India policies will remain same for all the states. Now, what is being done? Let me share some quick positive stories with you. Labor law reforms. Well, Madhya Pradesh, of course, is one of the first 2 states after Rajasthan which came up with massive labor reforms, and I'm happy to say that they are really path-breaking in terms of any standards. But only labor reforms or only saying that we have a single window doesn't help. I have worked on this and I realized that it is the detailing which makes all the difference. And we call it process reengineering. If you have to apply for a particular permission, Single window would say that you apply at one portal and then in so many days you will get the permission. Luckily, Madhya Pradesh is also the first state in the country to have a Public Service Delivery Guarantee Act, where you guarantee that a particular service will be delivered in so many days, otherwise there's a penalty and all that. And now, after the Chief Minister's instructions, all the permissions and licenses and other facilities to be given for an investor are being notified as a guaranteed service. So naturally there will be time limit. But no, I am going a step beyond. Now what we are doing as an exercise is that, well, if you want, say, water clearance or environmental clearance, you apply online and you get the clearance or the certificate in 30 days. But let's visit that application form, and do we need so many informations actually what we are asking for? Okay, let's go a step further. Do we at all need this license? Do we need to ask for the certificate from the industry? That's the stage where now we are going to attack. We are doing it. One small classic example is, after doing a lot of internal homework, we have declared, Chief Minister, we have issued notifications that in Madhya Pradesh, in any government offices, for any service, you don't have to bring in an income certificate, or you don't have to bring in a domicile certificate. Why? Because we are saying that we believe, we trust the citizen, and the citizen himself puts an affidavit, and he says that I am going to tell you that this is what is my income, or I am going to declare that this is what is going to be my place of ordinary residence. Why do we need another tehsildar or an SDO or some other officer to simply put a stamp on it and ask him to go through an arduous path of another 3 to 4 months in getting that certificate? Let's accept the statement. So that was notified. So we don't require now certificates on these count. In any government office for any service where these things are needed, simply citizen declaring itself is accepted. Going a step forward, we said, okay, citizen can give his own affidavit. Why do we need an affidavit? Can he not simply do a self-declaration? What is the difference between an affidavit and a self-declaration? Again, we went into the depth of it. And we discovered that the only difference is that if somebody has filed a false affidavit, then the punishment in the court is, say, 1 year. I'm just taking an example. And if somebody has made a false statement before the government, the punishment is 6 months. So ultimately, making a false statement or a false affidavit before the government officiary is a crime, and it is punishable. So how does it matter? Just because I want to punish somebody for twice the period, I'll ask everybody to put an affidavit. So we said, okay, we'll do away with affidavits. We don't require affidavits to be there. Simply a declaration by a citizen will be accepted. Now these are the kind of things that states now need to do to be able to make life easier for the citizens and for the investors. Let me just quickly tell you about MP-specific strategy for attracting investments in ASDM. As Tanushri was rightly saying, we are here to pitch in for our own state, but I'll quickly do it. Well, Madhya Pradesh, like many other states, has land, and we can actually leverage, because gradually over a period of next couple of years, it will become a premium. And therefore, it's a good idea to plan your land as a resource and start offering it to industries in a very focused manner. But what do we do? So we came up with a lot of policies. We have an IT investment policy. We have a BPO policy. And happy to announce that we have a FAB policy also. I made a presentation to Honorable Chief Minister on 7th of January that we need to have a specific policy. Of course, we are coming up with 2 policies. So we have analog FAB policy, and we'll be coming up shortly with a digital FAB policy. But to have an analog FAB policy, I made a presentation to my Honorable Chief Minister, and on 7th of January. And on 27th of January, we had the policy being ratified by the cabinet. So that's the speed at which decision is made. Now, what are the major salient features of that analog FAB policy in Madhya Pradesh? We have decided to have 3-pronged strategy in this policy. One is to provide good world-class infrastructure to a semiconductor analog FAB company which wants to set up its unit in Madhya Pradesh. So what are we doing? We are saying that we'll provide power, and we are saying power will be delivered at your doorstep with 2 separate grids and substations and all that. Water supply will be delivered at your doorstep. the entire water discharge out of a unit will be treated through a proper sewerage treatment plant. That will be the infrastructure that government will provide. Your job is to come and set up your factory. Infrastructure will take care. That's one. Secondly, provide support system. What do we mean by support system? Because if you have a fab, it will need a connectivity to the airport. So we said we'll have a dedicated 4-lane road corridor to airport from your fab that we'll develop at state's cost. We'll have a free trade zone developed for you at the airport. We said we'll provide an ecosystem around your unit so that the staff that are going to work in the city will be able to have housing, school for children. All that can be enabled. And all this is possible within the government's region because state governments have enormous power in terms of handling land rules. And thirdly, and which is most important, provide competitive inputs comparable to anywhere in the world. So now we have promised that power will be provided at this fixed tariff for next 10 years. Water will be provided at this fixed tariff for next 10 years, and so on. Now I think these are the differentiators. We need to understand that a company which is wanting to set up a fab here is not bothered what Madhya Pradesh is offering or a neighboring state or Karnataka or Maharashtra is offering. They are comparing their entire books vis-a-vis what is being offered in Taiwan, what is already available in South Korea. So we need to keep that in mind. But apart from all these incentives, the most important thing that an investor is looking for, I think, is trust. It is a trust which will make or break any policy. We all have policies for innumerable number of years. How many of the policies actually walk the talk is the real issue. And it's my personal feeling that personal involvement of everybody in the team, commitment, makes a lot of difference. Small example, my chief minister meets investors every Monday, first thing in the morning. There is a slot fixed for 1 hour where CM meets investors. They can simply walk in and a lot of issues are discussed. Smallest possible issues are also discussed in that meeting, and then chief minister instructs. As they say, buck stops there, full stop. Then there's no more going around. And I think this trust, this commitment is going to make a long-term difference in every sector in the country, including ESDM. And I wish IESA a very bright future. I wish electronics industry a bright future. I am myself an electronics engineer, and what more to look for in our career to be able to contribute to a sector which you have studied in. Once again, thank you very much for your precious time.